Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's time for our weekly live Q&A. So we're live here across the internet. So big hello and welcome to everyone joining in. So this is a live Q&A. So if you're a YouTube channel member, you can use the YouTube use the live chat function as well. If you are watching and you aren't a member, you can use the Superchat function as well, all of which helps support the channel and the website and everything. And it really does mean a lot, especially to all of our Patreon and YouTube channel members. It really does mean a lot. This means that we're less reliant then on advertising and fluctuations, etc. So big thank you to everyone. You can also vote as well. We'll do little polls and stuff throughout, but everyone can vote for that. Got lots of questions and stuff coming today. So what I tend to do is jump in between the live chat and also the pre-done questions, going through them all and stuff. So big hello to everyone in the live chat. You can see we've got Bubba Trolling, we've got Noxwave, Keenan, Bubba. Hopefully you can all hear me. That's a good one. So lots of questions this week. It was a really busy news week with the quarterly financial results, with some big mic drop moments. There were some other big announcements. You also had the Television Critics Association press tour. So we have just had like 3 days of just dropping news from all of the television studios. I'm not going to lie. I'm not entirely sure if that way of dropping stuff is the best way of doing it, because it feels a little bit like overkill of dropping news about 10 National Geographic shows all within a few hours and then not having anything for the last few weeks. Same thing. That's my own little bug. I mean, I'd like it a little bit more spread out. And you can hear me, so that's all pretty cool. So we've got lots of questions today about sports and ESPN and how this is all going to tie in. So just a brief overview. So Disney announced, along with Warner Brothers and with Fox, that they're going to be launching a brand new streaming service in the United States later this year, which is probably going to be between $40 and $50 a month. It's going to be like a cable light, and you'll have access to their channels, primarily aimed at sports. Not yet sure if it's also going to include other channels as well. They're going to be bundling it with Disney Plus and with Max. That's one streaming service that's primarily aimed, as I said, for, if you want to watch sports on ABC and the TNT and whatever other channels they've got over there on that stuff. CBS isn't included in that deal because they kind of already started putting stuff onto their own streaming service. Like tonight, if you're in the US, you can watch the Super Bowl on Paramount Plus, or you can watch it on CBS. So they're doing it that way, and Peacock's doing their own thing. So that's why those three have drawn together. But also, Disney announced that they were still going to be launching their ESPN standalone direct-to-consumer product. This is like the full version where you get all the stuff that's on TV. And that one will be available within Disney Plus in the United States. No word yet if we're going to see stuff internationally, or what the future of ESPN Plus is, because that's also a big question as well. So let's go into some of the sports questions. So Babak says, how will the new joint venture from sports differ from ESPN streaming service? Do you think ESPN and Warner Brothers will still keep their content on their own platforms too? Well, the key thing with this, it is not exclusive. And that is a very key aspect to be aware of with this, is it's non-exclusive. So that doesn't mean that this stuff is going on here and it isn't going anywhere else. They can all put it where they want. This is an option for people that have not got cable, or people that have never had cable and that might want it. This might be a boom and bust. It might do nothing. There's also some of the cable companies and stuff are not happy with it as well. But this is a bit of a weird one. We don't really know how this is going to go. This could flame up and be massive, or it could be a fart in a hurricane and no one's really going to pay much attention to it and stuff. So yes, I do think that this one's going to be very interesting to see how all this. But yeah, it's not exclusive of how all this is coming in. Let's just see if we've got any live ones here. So Keenan said, Khalid. I'm trying to get my words out today. Not Keenan, but Khalid has said, I remember when Iger said that the ESPN direct-to-consumer and joint venture aren't the same thing, since they will have unique features, while the JV is more of a skinny bundle. Yeah, I think this bundle is more of a combat to losing streaming. What I do think, and this is something I have thought of, is what if this is their way of shifting Hulu Live? Get away from the Hulu Live. Maybe they have this, and then they kind of go, actually, we just want to move, we'll move everybody over onto this from the Hulu Live bundle, and that's their way of clearing out Hulu Live away. That's something I have considered, of this could be a a way of them kind of getting out of that Hulu Live bundle, because that's very expensive. It's not making a lot of money. Also, it's not growing, but this could really help them like kind of shift people over. Caleb also says, I also remember that James Murdoch from Fox said there are no plans to include CBS or NBC. Yeah, I think the fact that they've already gone over the top, they don't really need to do stuff on that one there. Bubbatronic says, when do you think Disney Plus will have ESPN Plus? This one's interesting, because the fact that they're going to be adding in this new ESPN version in next year, it does feel a little bit like, so are we not going to have the ESPN Plus as part of the Disney Plus thing for another like 18 months? That seemed a long way off. Are they just focused on Hulu? I don't know. I mean, I still feel like it seems like a weird thing to be talking about this new ESPN one when there's already ESPN Plus, and they've already done Hulu on, ESPN Plus on Hulu. Now, whether or not they do the same, I don't know. I mean, I would have thought they would have done, but maybe their main focus right now is making sure Hulu on Disney Plus is the main priority and stuff. So yeah, maybe that's how that one's going to work. Keenan says, do you think Toy Story 5 could be the last film in the series? Nope. They're going to keep doing that. They're going to ride that. They're still going to be doing Toy Story movies as long as they can. They've gone past the point now of no return. I think they can just keep making them. Mahmoud says, what is the best way for Disney to balance out their theatrical business with Disney Plus without showing preference to one or another? Well, I think one leads for the other. The simple truth is, if you put a movie out in cinemas and it makes some money, it makes money. You put it out on streaming, it doesn't make any money. And I think they very much quickly worked out that you put something like Peter Pan and Wendy on there, I think I read the other day, like 170 odd million on that. Haunted Mansion, same. I think they're probably around about the same budget. Haunted Mansion was a box office flop, but it's a box office flop which took, I don't know what it took in the end. Actually, I'm just trying to think now. Haunted Mansion box office. I'll have a look there. 117 million. So not a huge amount. So I mean that's pretty low. But Haunted Mansion did take 117 million dollars more than Peter Pan and Wendy. That's the key thing of looking at it. I think they want to encourage you to go to cinemas, but also more importantly, a film that goes to streaming after it's been in cinemas is looked at much more preferably by people. People go, oh, I've been wanting to watch that. Oh, that's, if it's not a straight to streaming one, people look at it differently. But also, and this is the key thing, all the advertising that they do for that film when it's coming out in cinemas will actually then pay dividends because you're promoting that film. So when it does come to streaming, it's a bigger film because it gets more attention. Because if they put out, for example, they put out Suncoast this week on Disney Plus around the world and on Hulu and Hulu on Disney Plus in the US. They didn't spend any money advertising that, but if that was a theatrical film, you probably would have seen a little bit more for it. Tim says, Collider are reporting that The Acolyte is coming out this summer. Could Disney release this for Star Wars Day? Well, I know Tim, you're in Australia, so your seasons are a bit messy. But May 4th is not summer here. That will be still technically spring, so it'll be too early for that. They have Collider said that it's probably coming in summer. That's very vague. That could be any time between sort of June through till end of August, maybe beginning of September. It could be the last week of August. It could be the first week of June. That's a big window that it could drop in. I'm not sure if May 4th. I mean, I thought May 4th might be a good starting point to start a series off. Maybe do Skeleton Crew or do something like that. That might be a good time to do it. But yeah, I think May 4th. And also they are going to be releasing The Phantom Menace in cinemas, which is really scary because that's 25 years ago. 25 years ago. Basil says, how well do you think the upcoming sequels will perform at the box office? I'm a little worried about franchise fatigue. Yeah, I get what you mean here. I mean, there is that thing of 2023 really had a franchise fatigue burnout. And Disney are going all in on franchises. Lots of remakes, lots of things. They're playing it safe. And there's two ways of looking at it. One way is the budgets are a bit lower. That's not less of an issue. I think if they're putting out, Moana feels a little bit like a punt to see because if that movie does 300-400 million, that would be deemed a success. Because I think the first one only took like 500-600. They simply need to get more. you look at like the last 3 years of Disney and Pixar films, Onward, Raya and the Last Dragon, Turning Red, Strange World, Luca, Soul. And the only one that's kind of, and Wish. So the only one that was kind of part of a franchise was Lightyear, but it was so far removed from Toy Story, it didn't really connect. And therefore, they've just done like plus 3 years of originals, and none of them have really caught on. So yeah, it makes sense for them to go back to the well and go, look, here we go. They've bumped Elio back. I think that's probably a good thing. Give them a little bit more time to fix that film if there's anything wrong with it. Spread them out a little bit more. Focus this year. You got Moana and Inside Out 2. Safe bets. Families are much more likely to do it. But also, when they do drop on Disney Plus, they'll be even bigger. Simple truth is, Moana will be a bigger hit as a film than it was as a series. Yeah, I think the franchise fatigue is there, but I think if they move it around a little bit more, I think it shouldn't be as bad. But yeah, I think there's that line of, unfortunately, with animation, trying to get the original ones going seems to be really hard. Just people just not watching it the same way. Tim says, what Disney Pixar trailers are we getting during the Super Bowl? So I don't know anything officially, but I think generally we're very much aware of Deadpool 3 is the big one. So my plan is, unfortunately, the Super Bowl doesn't start till like 11:30 at night here. It doesn't finish till like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. So I'll generally will watch most of it tomorrow, but I'm going to try and stay up. I'll probably stay up maybe to like after 12:01, because sometimes some of the trailers drop in that first like quarter. So I want to try and see if I can see it, but if not, the halftime show, it's like 1:30 in the morning. It's just really late for me, but I might try and stay up. I've got the DAZN. It was 99p for access to it. I've watched a couple of seasons of Hard Knocks on it and been catching up on some stuff. It's the thing, really. I've been watching this stuff and deciding whether or not I go for the DAZN for the full NFL Game Pass when it relaunches in August. I've been like testing it. I've done a few weeks when they've been doing like these 99p weeks to see if it's worth it. But yeah, so that's one. Inside Out 2, I think we've already seen the 30-second spot that they put out already. They put that out a couple of days ago. So that one will probably be going in there. They might drop a secondary trailer. I don't know. Shogun, they're going to be dropping a 30-second. They've paid out for that one, but they've already released the extended trailer yesterday. Moana, maybe they do like a 30-second teaser for that one. They've already, that might be a little one that they do extra. Maybe Planet of the Apes, but yeah, I think Deadpool's the big one. Citan says, what do you think of the Trian partners, Nelson Pope's change for the case at Disney, their manifesto for board directors as seen on the Restore the Magic website? Oh, this one's a good one. So there have been some advantages. Let's put this first. There has been some advantages to the problems that Nelson Pope's has been doing by buying up stock and trying to get on the board. Last year it happened, and this year it's happened again. It has given the executives a kick. It has given them, they have had to this week's quarterly results was them firing back and making sure that they were hitting stocks. The stocks went up. They said everything that kind of along the lines of what the executives or these investors wanted. It has given them a boost. It has given them a kick up the butt to do something. So I do think that these activist investors have helped sort out Disney to get them into a better situation and to get them moving on. However, I think it is a distraction. I think if they get on the board, it's just going to be causing nothing but problems. I don't think personally that Nelson Post, he doesn't give two hoots about restoring the magic. He's more interested in restoring his bank balance. That's all he's interested in. He couldn't give two hoots. He thinks Batman and Robin are part of DC. He doesn't care. He just wants more money, and I think we just need to not sugarcoat that. But he has had some advantage. He has helped Disney focus. So I do think that he has been some help, but I don't want him on the board. I think the help that he's done has helped. Some of the other investors as well from I can't think of what, Blackfriars or something like that. The people they're putting in, their ideas are all over the place. The a lot of these like executives, all they want to do is reverse the time. We are just going to do what used to happen and used to work. That's not going to work. You know, splitting up Disney into different parts and different companies isn't going to help. You know, focusing on studio stuff. You don't think they know how to do that? I mean, yeah, they have had a real ropey few years, no doubt about it. And there's no point sugarcoating that. And they have to get stuff sorted, but they have to have time to do it. They can't. This is like turning around a huge cruise ship. It's not like just turning around in your swimming pool where you can just turn around. It takes a lot to do it, and it's gonna take years for some of the effects of what's happened last year, let alone what's happened this year. Right, let's have a look, see what we've got in the live chat. Let's see what we've got going on here. Kelly says, remember the Marvels got second life when I hit Disney Plus? That was only Wednesday, remember? that was only Wednesday. We did watch the Marvels again this afternoon on Disney Plus. It does feel sad that far too many people got gaslit to believe the film would be spelled doom for the Marvel MCU. Yeah, there was a lot of just the film just got destroyed. I'm not gonna lie, there was a few bits where I enjoyed it, and my wife was not so keen. She did turn to me during the singing section, and well, the bit is not actually suitable for YouTube watching. So there, I think there's a lot of people that are gonna find it and watch it, and then kind of be like, this is fun. I think this is fun. No, I thought that was good. Knoxwave is excited for the trailer to come out. Let's have a look at the poll. Let's see what we're going. So for the Super Bowl, who's going to win? 38% of you think the Chiefs, 35% of you think the 49ers, and 27% of you think Taylor Swift. I definitely think Taylor Swift is winning. Personally, I'm kind of edging more. I'm kind of going to be, I think, wanting the Chiefs to win. I know they've won like the last few Super Bowls, but having watched quarterback, I sort of know Mahomes a bit more. Obviously, the whole thing with Kelsey and Taylor's been everywhere. It's like I've watched a few more of their games this season, so I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to follow them rather than the 49ers. But yeah, so that's good. Let's see let's do another poll. So, what Super Bowl trailer are you looking forward? Oh, too many looking forward to. I mean, I know it's all going to be anyway. Inside Out 2, Shogun, Moana 2. I mean, this doesn't mean these are coming. These are just I know what your answer is going to be anyway, but I think we're all waiting for that one trailer for Deadpool. Let's see here. Billy C says, streaming is the future. Do you think that physical media is going to get phased out entirely? I think physical media will not fully go. I think there's always going to be a market for people that want to collect stuff. I think that's still going to be there for a little bit longer. I would if you look at like the music industry of how vinyl has become the collectible choice of what people want to collect. They're not buying them for convenience. They're not buying a vinyl to put in your car. I mean, it's so funny, really, because like when I was a kid, like watching or sort of listening on vinyl was so awkward compared to cassettes or CDs that, you know, vinyl was just a pain. It could scratch. You couldn't play it in the car. You couldn't take it with you. Vinyl wasn't very useful. But obviously now you've got all that in it with Spotify and stuff. But the thing of collecting and music and using it and having that experience has what's come in. So I wouldn't be at all surprised if Blu-ray and kind of continues on as like a collector's editions. I think we might start just seeing more of that, of limited runs, limited collector's boxes, and maybe they just trim them down a little bit. So you put out the Marvels, they put out one SKU, like a collector's SKU with all the junk in it that comes with it, and make that feel as physical as possible. The big problem comes into is, will enough people be buying it? Is there enough money for the manufacturers to keep making the equipment? Because that's a big thing as well. Of, you know, that can be a big problem, having all the equipment stuff. So I think there is a little bit of a future, but I think in general it's going to be going. I think it's going to be going in video games. It's going to be going in TV. We're already moving past it. We are seeing some of the problems involved with it, but I think the positives outweigh the negatives. I know there's some people that love physical media, want everything on physical media, do not trust anyone with their things. And there is that thing of, and I hate to break it to most of them, when they die, probably 99% of their families are just going to throw all of that straight in the tip. I know everyone thinks they're preserving it like it's the museum and it's going to be like the most important thing. But most of your physical collections are just going to go straight to recycling or in the tip or to a charity shop when you go. Your family are not really going to want it. It's like all of this stuff. And I feel like it's hard to say because I don't think we like it. I've got all my junk here. I love all this stuff. Nobody else is going to want this. My nephews and stuff, they're not going to want all this. I mean, they do right now, but there's that kind of thing. I think being realistic. Thank you very much, Derek, for your super chat. Thank you very much for being the first super chat on the live stream as well. Thank you so much. It's a nice $5 donation. This coming April, MGM Studio will become 100 years old. How did they survive 100 years of abuse? It is funny with MGM. They are a very weird streaming. There's like a weird studio. They've made a lot of great films over the time. But I know, and at one point it was Disney MGM Studios. When I remember going the first time, it was MGM. It was kind of interconnected with Disney because Disney didn't have enough general entertainment stuff to pull it in. But over the years, just MGM has just flitted away, and it's never felt like they were able to get to that next stage up. It was kind of funny being in Vegas a few years ago and seeing the MGM building, but yeah, it is strange how MGM is. He's like now I think of James Bond, but you have that roaring lion at the beginning, but I actually can't really think of very many movies that are actually connected to that brand. Anyone else? I mean, without looking it up, that's the key thing. If I looked it up, I'd go, I know that one, I know that one, I know that one. But just off the top of my head, I can't really think of it. And ultimately they've survived now because Amazon have swallowed them up. And that history is going to keep them going. But again, thank you very much, Derek, for your support. Thank you so much for that super chat. Okay, let's see what we've got. Babatronic says, what date do you think Disney Plus will launch Hulu on Disney Plus fully? My guess is March the 15th. That is my guess. That will be my guess because that's when the new password account sharing information comes in. You've got the launch of Taylor Swift. I mean, I don't know if actually that's a good day to do it because of Taylor Swift, but that feels like a natural one. Or they could just go turn it on one day, turn it on the 1st. But so I'm thinking either the 1st or the 15th. Kaylee says, think of Tom and Jerry. Is Tom and Jerry? Yeah, I instantly thought Warner Bros. But they're not Looney Tunes. Ricardo says it's been reported that the reason Disney Plus removed the old Disney movies in Europe is because the quota for the local content there is becoming more harsh. They even consider leaving some countries. First I've heard of that. I know that some of the countries, the European Union is getting a bit more stricter on it, and I mean there is kind of a counter argument of if you're getting too close to not having enough content, maybe eliminating 200-300 titles that people aren't watching will help you not have to put more on there. They do license a lot of content here in Europe and stuff that you don't necessarily get in other countries. But that's a very interesting. I've not seen that reported anywhere, whether or not that's just speculation, but that could very easily be a good reason. But yeah, I suppose if you take out 200-300 units, that's a lot less titles that you have to put on that are European. But yeah, interesting. But then that's really weird it's kind of funny because why would we lose it here in the UK? Because we're kind of we're not in it and we're in it. Because we're not part of the European Union anymore. So I don't know why we would have lost it. I think there could be bits of that in there. We're also just saving money. Ricardo says, for what we know in Latin America, when Star Plus merges with Disney Plus, it will have all the features moved there, including live sports. Could this be a test for live sports in the US? Yes, it's going to be interesting to see how all this comes in with the live sports, of how that's going to work. Is that going to be an ESPN tier? We don't really know what's going on there. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting, because if they add in that all that technology, it really opens up the door then to be able to be used in like Europe and Middle East, because I mean it opens up no end. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. Bobatronic says, what do you think of Disney buying 10% of Epic Games? I've got quite a few questions on this, so I might as well answer it now, but when they come up, I think this was a very smart move. Disney has got a very bad history with video games. Fundamentally, especially Bob Iger. Bob Iger doesn't understand it. And a lot of the executives do not understand gaming. They've not grown up in it the same way, whereas I might look at video games and be like, yeah, this is just as important as your movies and your TV. And the fact that he spoke during the quarterly and said about how he was shocked to see how much television, how much gaming, Generation Alpha and Generation Z. I'm like, us Gen X and millennials, we play a lot of video games. We play a lot of video games too, and we have been for decades. This is not new, and it's just grown and grown and grown. I think it's more the fact that like tablets and stuff mean they're all much more, but this is nothing new. And streaming is going to be moving, and like I think Xbox Games Pass and PlayStation are going to be going more into the streaming side of things. There's vast, so getting involved in Epic Games is one of the biggest things. Not only that, they got Epic Games Store. You've also got, they're behind the Unreal Engine and other technology and stuff. So they get in, and I mean, they might start adding more to their investment, maybe get up to 23, go up to 30, maybe go up to 50%. They might get more involved in it. But also, I think that's a really good way for them to kind of get in on gaming, rather than just buying studios up, because I don't think that's going to work. I mean, there's major problems with Microsoft right now, and we're expecting a major update this week with their future, having spent billions on all their acquisitions. Rumors of them might even pull out of the Xbox market of like physical boxes. There's a lot of weird stuff going on in gaming right now. Keenan, I did answer that one earlier, but yes, I think there will be a lot more Toy Story ones. Chris says, will this new streaming service offer ABC and Fox channels? Well, that seems to be, at the minute, they were just focused on like sports channels, ESPN. Now, whether or not they include Fox, the main Fox channel and the main ABC channel, they might need to do that as well. I don't know. There's a little bit light on information on that one. Matt says, what do you think of all the announcements of the new shows and movies? What are you looking forward to? There's been a lot this week. Definitely looking forward to Moana 2. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely, for me, it's like, when you see something like, what is it? For me, it's more of the Star or the Hulu original shows, I'm much more interested in the general entertainment kind of things of their films and their shows that are coming out there, their drama series. I'm looking forward to, when Grey's comes back, and when you've got, I'm looking forward to watching Abbott Elementary when it arrives, and those are the stuff that that's what I like watching. I really like the limited series. I like there's a new one it's set in World War II. That one I'm looking forward to. There's those kind of things. The limited series from FX, they're the shows that I'm really looking forward to watching. Ken says, does Disney have a licensing agreement with Studio Canal in Europe? I remember watching What's Love Got to Do with It, and it stars Lee James on the Hulu tab. Yeah, I think they do get a lot of Studio Canal stuff here in the UK as well. And does give Iger credit for Greenlight and Kingdom Hearts, but I can tell he doesn't know how to capitalize an IP. Hopefully a future CEO is a Gen Xer who understands video games. Yeah, I think they have said that they're doing really well with licensing. He did say that the other day that this seems to be working, and I can actually see how that works. I mean, I played through the 2-hour demo of Spider-Man 2 last night, and that was so much fun, really good. They do there's all these different companies. It makes sense to go and find the best partner for these games, rather than trying to shoehorn in I think the trouble is as well is the games market has evolved, where when I was younger and like in my 20s and stuff, you used to get these kind of catch-in games that they used to try and tie in with movies, and they were awful. They were just cheap tie-ins, not very good, and they got a notoriously bad reputation. When I was a kid, I grew up in the era where we got 2D scrollers like Aladdin, Jungle Book, Lion King. They were really good video games, and they were hard, but I mean, that was a kind of weird thing of like you play them at now and you can do the rewinds and stuff. I got further in those games as an adult than I ever did. So it was quite a lot. Right, let's jump now back into the light. Let's do another poll. So I think 56% of you are looking forward to Deadpool 3, kind of evenly split between the two. Let's see now. Let's do another poll. And so would you like to see ESPN Plus in D Plus? Yes or no? Nice and simple on that one. And again, anyone can vote. You don't have to be a member for that one. Right, let's jump back into the questions. Hello to Ryan. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Thank you. Let's see where we were. I'm just trying to see where we go. Here we go. Tim says, was there any reports that the Marvel TV series was becoming a movie this year? And will they do the same with the Tiana TV series? The Moana thing really did, like, I don't think anyone knew. That was a complete surprise. Whether or not they do the same thing with Tiana, I could see them doing it. I don't know. We haven't heard a lot about it, but I could see if Moana works, they'll do it to Tiana. Bobak says, do you think it's a good idea to have Moana 2 and live action Moana coming out within a year of each other? Apparently, Moana is probably the live action one's going to get delayed. They've not even started filming it yet. Casting still kind of being talked about. I think they're probably boot it a few years down the line. I think if Moana, there's no chance of them releasing them within like 6-7 months of each other. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Daniel says, do you see them buying up more stake of Epic in the future or a new game studio? I think they're just going to make more investment in gaming. I think maybe buying in on other studios, just taking a slice of it, see how it goes. I think if they went out loud and like brought Ubisoft or EA or something like that, I don't think they can. I don't have faith in Iger to do that. We need a new CEO that come in and looks at gaming in a very different way than Iger. I think we need to get ready for the next person, and that person might not even be the same. That they might just not be ready for gaming. Unfortunately, again, I would say that there's an age difference of you get to a certain point where, people like maybe like 45 and under are going to be much more inclined to be into video games because they grew up on video games properly. So if you were maybe in your 50s or above, you probably play games, but the less of them and stuff. And I think that's the thing. And let's be honest, most of these CEOs and stuff are all in their 60s and 70s. What are your biggest? Kayla says, what's your biggest takeaways from this year's? A lot of it was mic drops to kind of battle off with the to get rid of the investors. I think the announcements and the stock boost is really going to throw a wrench in their plans of being like, well, we're going to fix Disney, and they're like, yeah, we already did. We've just stock price went up like $10+, and they've set out the plan. And these other guys coming in are like, it's not going to work. Basil says, with Strange World and Wish both failing at the box office, are we going to see some original animated films in the future? Much less. I mean, I think they went a little bit too much the other way, where I think you probably need to balance it a little bit more. We got Elio next year. But if we've got like Inside Out 2, then we got Moana 2, then Elio, then Zootopia 2, and then we got another film which might be Toy Story and then Frozen 3. I would hope then that when we get into the next year, into 2027, they might then be thinking we need to balance this out a little bit more. You know, maybe one. I mean, I do feel like, yeah, at least one in every two should at least be original. Babak says, again, are they going to be investing more in gaming? I think they probably will do. I think they realized that they were a bit behind. Elias says, I currently have the Disney Bundle Trio Premium. Do you know if that will be enough to have ESPN streaming with Disney Plus someday as Hulu, or will it be have to? So I'll be honest, we don't really know yet. They are going to be bundling it with Disney Plus. My guess is that by the time August 2025 rolls around, Hulu might not be here in the same way that we are now. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Hulu Live TV is merged in with this new streaming service, this new version, and they can offset that. Hulu then comes in, and then they bring in ESPN as the direct-to-consumer thing through Disney Plus, and that's, or they rebrand ESPN Plus or something like that. But it will be bundled, and there will be one, and I don't think this triple bundle that you've got right now will still be here in a year's time. I mean, yeah, I feel like the way that Disney were talking, like, we're going to bundle these things with Disney Plus and Hulu. I think they're leaving those things out. I think Hulu will be gone by next year as it is in its current format, and I think that's the way I look at it. Keenan says, could Lilo and Stitch be released in cinemas? Because I heard rumors about that one. Apparently, they got a slot in September or August. Yeah, I think it would. I think it makes sense. If the movie's good, pop it out in cinemas. Make a couple hundred, make 100, 200, 300 million on it, then pop it on the Disney Plus. That's better than just dropping it on there. And you got to look at like Pinocchio and stuff. Babak says, what were you most surprised from the investors meeting? I think the Epic Games for me was the big one. That was definitely, I mean, the Taylor Swift one was fantastic surprise. Moana 2, great surprise. But yeah, Epic Games as a gamer, I thought that was a big move for them. Mama says, what do you think of everything that was announced at the TCA event? There was a lot. I think there was too much. I feels like they just the way that they went about like releasing, like there was like 30 plus announcements and I just feel like this again is where Disney's like the studio system is all over the place, and like what's the point in doing it like the way they did it? I don't know, it just seems very weird. I mean, obviously Renegade Neo is one I'm looking forward to. The fact that we've got more Goosebumps, great. But yeah, it's just feels a little bit overkill with how they do those events of just like, I think maybe, yeah, there just seem to be a lot of announcements and we've not really heard anything for months. And then suddenly then like 30 plus announcements within 3 days just seemed a little bit like you guys could have spread this out a little bit more. And some of it gets lost. The stuff from Thursday and Friday has got lost because of all this. There's been so much announcements this week that so much of it gets lost in it. Kenny says, why did Disney Plus lose subscribers? Prices going up. So the price going up, this did have an impact of why the numbers went down. Those prices going up did have a direct reason of why people unsubscribed. No doubt about it. They are going to go up next month by 5 to 6 million because of the charter deal. They'll probably be having some more deals coming up soon, which will help keep boosting that up a bit. And also, remember, these new ones that they're just signing in, they ain't going anywhere because they're locked in. So yeah, if they leave cable, they'll lose them. But I think they're probably more likely to keep it in there. Maman says, what do you think of everything announced in relation to ESPN and how it'll impact Disney Plus? I think it's more having Disney Plus and ESPN Plus or whatever it's going to be called together in bundles is just going to help it. And I think, I personally think having ESPN as a hub within Disney Plus is a good thing. But I also more happy with it being a paid add-on extra. I don't want us all having to pay for sports if you are not interested in sports. Sports is expensive, but also I think this is the other key problem is sports is expensive, and I don't think audiences have really fully realized how expensive they are, and that's why, I mean, it's like I said, Sky Sports has been expensive here, TNT Sports, all the rest of it. So it is interesting for how all this comes together. Connor says, with Disney's poor track record with the gaming industry, was there 10% and a shock to you? Yes, definitely a shock. Seatown said, activist investor Nelson Peltz is vying for a seat on the Disney board of directors in an attempt to turn the company's fortune and directions around. And hilariously, Disney is trying to stave him off with an instruction video to how to vote, composite of hodgepodge of old cartoons featuring Ludwig von Drink. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I saw this. It does seem very odd. Seems such a weird way of doing it. Of using old, and it kind of, yeah, it's a bit condescending. And personally, I think those big mic drops at the quarterly was much more important for shareholders than that silly little video. But it did seem a bit odd. Seemed like a waste of money. Babak says, could shows like Percy Jackson and Goosebumps be put on ABC to help get more eyes on it and hype it before the second season? Yes, I think we're going to see a lot of this. They did, I think, talk about this a little bit during yesterday's TCA event. It worked with Only Murders in the Building. We are probably going to see a lot more. They are starting now, and they did talk about the fact now that linear and streaming are a dual business. They are now looking at this as a dual product, one not above the other. It's 50-50 now, and I think we're seeing the shift go into the fact of linear is still important and streaming is important, but neither one of them are as important. They're, they are looking at them now as equals, and it's not a case they are. And also, I think as well as it was ridiculous in the fact of, well, that's a linear show and that's a streaming show, and we can't mix them. And it makes it you're spending all this money on these streaming shows, but you can't put them on linear. Goodbye, Ryan. Goodbye, Knoxwave. Hope you have a good evening. Keenan says, any reactions to We Want Cody trend? So if you're not aware of WWE this week, it was quite an impressive week. So The Rock obviously was, Cody Rhodes won the Royal Rumble. The Rock kind of came back last week on SmackDown and kind of was like, I'm going to take on The Rock. And Cody kind of whimpered off. And the audience was not happy. And it made Cody look a little bit soft. Well, over the weekend, everyone was going crazy. Monday, he said, he didn't even get a word in because kind of he got rattled up, and Drew McIntyre was fantastic. And then obviously they had this big event in Las Vegas, and it was great because we finally saw The Rock kind of turn heel with slapping Cody, and great. So there's one or two things. Either they worked us from the beginning, and this was always the plan just to get us all attention, and it worked. They tried something different, and they got us all worked up, and it worked. Alternatively, it backfired, and they changed their mind. Or, yeah, so those are the key things. I think they're either really, really smart for outthinking us, or they balked at the idea of what they did. But I think it's more, I think they worked us. Yeah, I don't necessarily, I'm not entirely sure, as Keenan just said there. I'm glad that they corrected the fan course. I know some of it, Ava's door, Ava was, it shouldn't have happened with that one, but I'm not entirely convinced. I would like to know whether or not it did go that way around. So Kanan, I think we've done that one. Matt says, what do you think? Okay, so we've done those, right? So we're on live for the rest of the show. So once we run out of questions, that'll be the end of that one. Let's see what we've got here. Kelly says he's voted yes. So 76% of you would like to see ESPN Plus and Disney Plus. That's good. That's definitely interesting. I've always been a little bit like with ever since I sort of started it's covering ESPN stuff. Is always a little bit like I'm never sure if the audience is really interested in this stuff because sometimes they don't. It's not so bad now. I think with the Hulu and Disney Plus, but there's always been this kind of weird thing of the core Disney Plus audience has always been a bit like, well, it's on Hulu, it doesn't count. And it's like but I think there is a big audience that would like to see more stuff from ESPN on there. Matt says, I hope they can fix the continue watching section, that when you finish something, it seems to stay on there. It would be nice if you could remove it. Carl says, surprisingly, are buying a larger stake in Epic than Sony. I don't know if Sony could have brought it. I don't know if that might have been a problem for them, and they might be better off spending that money on something else. Kyle's happy that we got the official renewal for Percy Jackson and Goosebumps. Yeah, that was good. And again, another big mic drop on the quarterly with Percy Jackson. Goosebumps, I'm surprised it took them so long, to be honest. Matt says, why did they remove The Sandlot in the UK? So this is probably down to one or two things. Trying to save money, because not a lot of people watched it. Now, I know The Sandlot is really popular in the US as a movie. I'm not sure how popular it is in the UK, because baseball is not a thing here. We don't play baseball at school. We play rounders. Literally most people probably don't really know anything about baseball. So the viewership is probably a lot less here and in Europe. So that's what, and if they get rid of stuff because people aren't watching. If people were watching this stuff, they wouldn't get rid of it. Carl says, are you looking forward to Dune 2? I'm going to watch it when it arrives on Netflix. I can't even remember what happened in Dune, the first one. I probably I'm not. Yeah, it hasn't really connected with me, to be honest. Ricardo says, interesting. The strategy is only to take 10%. Remember, it is 1.5 billion for 10%. It wasn't like it was a small chump change. For Disney Star, they want to only keep 40% of the. Could they have more strategic partners with their companies? Yeah, I think they're with the India stuff. They're trying to keep in there so that if they can get it, I think that's interesting. But I'm surprised he didn't announce what was going on with that one. I thought we might have had a little bit more on that one. Matt says, you think Percy Jackson will get season 3 and beyond? I hope so. I hope it gets all 5 seasons. Chris says, do you see Disney interested in airing the Super Bowl on ESPN and ABC, especially with this new streaming service? I do believe in the United States, I think they actually rotate between the networks or something like that. There's a kind of a rule or something. So I mean, they would think they would love it, but I think they have to move it around a little bit. Keenan says, do you think Mustafa the Lion King counts as a live action remake? To Disney, it does. To the rest, well, it's not a live action remake even, because it is new. It is actually an original story. This one is not a remake, and it's not a. So I think the first one, it's more of an animated movie. Let's be honest, but yeah, the second one that I wouldn't say so, but it's still nearly all CGI. Matt says, do you think they'll change Star to the hub in March? I wouldn't be at all surprised. If they do that. Kelly says, remember Deadline reporting that ABC wanted to televise more of Only Murders in the Building. I'm concerned that since the show has elements that won't fly with the FCC, and being a Hulu original gave them more creative. Yeah, so I think a lot of this, if you look at a lot of the earlier shows, they didn't have to worry about timing. They kept things very, they could go as long or as they less. I think they are going to be looking at these shows and being like, we need them to be TV length to add ads in. But also, you got to look at it the other way. They are adding ads in on the Disney Plus and the Hulu versions anyway for most people. So therefore, they are probably going to start thinking about it more, about where to place them. Kara says, what do you think will happen to Disney Plus in South Africa and the Middle East now that Disney has owned 40% of Star, since the app in the countries is based on the Hotstar app? This won't probably have any impact, because what they're selling Disney Star, which is in India. The Middle East and Africa falls under the UK department. All they have used is they've used the Hotstar app software, which belongs to Disney. That's their software. That's their bits. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. They're not selling off Disney Plus in all these other countries. It's just the Hotstar technology was used for that app. But yeah, I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so another. I want to see a commercial that features the Hulu that parallels Cheers. Oh, the Hulu pub. Everyone knows your name. But yeah, it would be fun to see that. Bubba Trolling says, do you think they will rebrand the Star Hub to Hulu? I think it's going to happen eventually. And apparently, Ricardo says, tomorrow Fox will be changing to Now. That is because there is a Star channel not related to Disney. You think that Now brand could be used for some countries in the future? Well, no, because Now is a streaming service here in the UK already. We already have that one. And it's actually, and they've also launched, have they launched Now in the US? Because Now, I'm sure Comcast launched Now because in the US actually. So yeah, I don't think they would. I think the thing is, it just makes sense for them to, they had to pick a different brand name, I would imagine. But yeah, I would imagine Star, even in Turkey, would just become the Hulu hub because that would be easier for them to do. And then maybe they just wanted a different name for the channel that wasn't something else. Matt says, when do you think we'll see Snow White, the live action, come out? I believe that's 2025. Kelly says, I feel Japan won't be the only country to rename the Star Hub to Hulu because Hulu is an independent. Yeah, Hulu, they might keep there's still going to be some regional changes. So I definitely think in Japan, Star will stay as it is. All right. Any last requests before we go off? Keenan says, could the Super Bowl have a commercial with that? The Hulu brand could be merged. I would not be at all surprised if there is a streaming bundle, Hulu on Disney Plus type of ad at some point during the game. I wouldn't be at all surprised if that. It's a great way of just getting the word out there on that, definitely. Okay, so 76% of you said yes, that you want it on there, so that's cool. Okay, so next week we'll be back again live with another Q&A. So big thank you to everyone joining in this week. So on that note, guys, hope you all have a fantastic evening. If you're staying, if you're going to be watching the Super Bowl and watching all of that, hopefully you enjoy it. If you're a 49ers or a Chiefs fan, hope your team wins. It doesn't matter to me because I don't support either of those teams, so that's fine. But yeah, so that's, I'm going to be interested to see how all this comes together. But on that note, guys, thank you very much. And I shall see you guys soon. Laters. Tally-ho.